Hey, you wild women. Oh my gosh. I am so excited to share what I'm going to be talking about today because it has been the craziest whirlwind of a career coming to this point of where I am. So, a question for you. Have you ever reread an email draft 10 times, totally forgetting what you're doing? Or maybe you followed up with someone already and you totally forgot that you followed up with them and now you look like a complete idiot? Or perhaps you started getting health issues because you were overwhelmed and totally out of alignment with the work that you do. So picture this. It's 9 p.m. and you're responding to yet another urgent media request. This was my life as a PR agency owner, a constant struggle of coming up with pitches, looking for opportunities, following up, these never-ending news cycles. And it became very taxing over time because there was part of me that didn't want to grow my agency to a place where we had multiple employees. I wanted to keep it small, but keeping it small also meant that I was doing it all. And I was reflecting just back on the days of my earlier agency when I had a team of 12. And I launched it when both my babies were born. And I'll get into detail about that story in a minute. But there was this one particular evening probably 6 months ago. And it was the kids had gone to bed and I was at the kitchen counter plugging away at emails. I had this stupid rule that I created that I can't go to bed when I have 10 emails in my inbox. And I don't know why I followed up with that ever since I started my first agency. My husband came downstairs and he looked at me. He's like, "What are you doing?" And I thought he was inquiring about the actual task that I was doing in that moment. And I said, "I'm responding to email pitches." And he goes, "No, but really, what are you doing?" And I knew what he meant. I knew what he meant because we had come to this position in our relationship, in our life, that I did not have to do this work anymore. I loved it for a period of my time and I was outgrowing it because the constant struggle and the massive shifts in the world of PR changed so much that it was requesting and requiring more of my time. And so I just said, "I don't know." And I felt hopeless. I'm like, I'll just shut it down. I'll shut it down. But I couldn't let my baby go. I couldn't let it go. I had built up a brand. I had built up a reputation. I had built up goodwill and a client base. And I was doing well. I was profitable, paying myself well. But I just couldn't keep going. So, when I look back on those days, I was technically successful. I was landing media hits. I was growing a team. I was serving really cool clients and working with some incredible people. But it all came at a price. The news cycles, they never end. Those pitches, they never end. And not only am I seeking clients, new clients, I am working with the current ones and then working with the team and then working with the media to follow up. It was just not serving me anymore. And I was ready to just call it quits. So eventually I realized in this moment, and it was building up over months, that at 9 p.m. on this evening, I had made that dreadful decision that something needs to change. I can't keep going. And it needed to be something drastic. Well, lo and behold, we had our friends come up and visit us in July. She runs an agency out of Denver, and she wanted to become a full service agency. And that's cool. And I kind of told her about what I was doing and how we were growing, and that I eventually wanted to part ways. And we got to talking and a lot of back and forth and a lot of, what if we just acquired your company came up. And I thought, this can't be a more perfect situation. She wanted to create a PR department in her organization and didn't know how to do it. And she brought me on board to not only bring in my clients and the goodwill and our systems and processes, but actually create and grow this division. So I knew it was a perfect fit, and that was my pivot point. Here was an out that is going to have an impact for our clients still. They needed the help, and now they're going into good hands. It's going to help Claire because now she is acquiring the agency that she needed to in order to become a full service agency. And I could slowly step away from the industry. So this started in July, and so July, August, September. So it took about 5 months for us to come to make the announcement, but also to have our systems in place and our team trained. And I'm still doing that work now, but in a week's time, actually in less than a week's time, I am going to be fully stepping away from the world of PR for the first time. So the decision to take this sabbatical was this big announcement today. Doesn't mean I'm going anywhere. I'm taking 1 month off. And it's not despite my business goals. It's not despite all the things that happen. It's because of them. So when I sold my agency, I promised myself I'd build something different this time. Reflecting on my days not being around my newborns or kids is time that I want back. And I want to take that back. You see, my story goes that I launched my last agency when I was 8 months pregnant with my first son. And then 11 months later, I welcomed my second son. So in the same year of launching an agency, I had 2 babies. And in my mind, it was small t trauma, is in, if you have babies, they're newborns, they don't sleep well. And there's a lot. You're going from being not a mom to a new mom of 2, being pregnant twice. And yes, I'm blessed with healthy kids and healthy pregnancies and all that. Despite that, I still had postpartum depression. Despite that, I still had mental health issues and health issues that I wasn't tending to because I was too busy growing my business. And quite frankly, being busy in the weeds of growing the business was actually a good distraction, which was a terrible way of approaching it, because when the busyness slows or stops, now all of a sudden you have to face that trauma. So I started doing the work. I did the work. And more I started to realize that I don't have to do this thing because I'm known for it. I don't have to do this thing because I'm good at it. Sometimes we get in these weeds of but this is what I've been training all my life for. And you fall out of love with it. And that is okay. It is okay to move on. It is okay to find another passion and take everything you've learned and the experiences you've had and the connections you've made to go into a new venture. And so I'm taking this sabbatical. What this looks like for me is a full month off. And by off, I mean no meetings. And by off, I mean reflecting on what I really want to do, spending more times with my kids, traveling. We're spending a month in Australia and Bali for the month of December going into January, and I can't wait. But it also means that I have more capacity and space to focus on 2 big things: growing this podcast, so growing into the wild, as well as my incredible new event that is happening in Kelowna, BC on June 12th, 2025, called the Pink Skirt Project. So if you go to thepinkskirtproject.com, we still have early bird tickets. They're on sale until the end of the year, so December 31st. This is going to be the big focus of my time. This has been an idea of mine for years and years and years, and I'll tell you all about it in another episode. But really what I'm doing is gathering 300 incredible women, some of the world's top speakers, for a full day of immersive summit, from learning, networking, Q&As, content, most incredible group of women, for a place to come together to gather, to be in a safe place, to ask the questions you want about life, business, marriage, parenting, and get clarity around certain parts of your life that need the ultimate growth. So this is what I'm doing. I can't say I have any regrets. I was burnt out, and now I know I needed to have this breakthrough, and then I did. I'm taking this 1 month off to create more space in my life, because we know that rest and space is when the most creative things happen. It's when you can actually top up your love tank, top up your sleep tank, start doing the things you really, really enjoy doing. I'm not saying you have to take a sabbatical for this, but if I look back on the last 14 years of my life, what I should have done is created more space in my life to step away from business, to step away from work, so that I can actually focus on, ruminate on the things that I'm thankful for, but also what I really want to do in my life. So here's what I want you to reflect on in this short episode, and how you can go from burnout to breakthrough, but understanding that you can't keep being busy in avoiding the thing you need to face. Because for me, that was the addiction, is the busyness helped me avoid the reality. And we need to face the reality in order to get through, to create that breakthrough. So where you can reflect on this is the first core lesson is the fallacy of always on. So in my PR agency days, what it taught me is that I was constantly available. I had to be for my clients, for the media. It was 24/7. But in operating like this, in a perpetual crisis mode, it actually diminished my ability to create transformative work. And I know this. So this lesson actually taught me that stepping back isn't just about avoiding burnout, but it's about creating space for meaningful impact. It's about putting time into the things that I'm aligned with. So always on is actually really stupid. If I see anybody that's always on, I'm like, hey, you either don't have kids or you don't have true respect for your mind and body. We can't always be responding. We can't always be available. And you know what? The biggest joys I've had in the last 6 months of my life is saying no and creating boundaries to the things and the opportunities in my life that are not serving me right now. So the second core lesson is how your impact requires integration. So in running these companies, it showed me that success without integration isn't sustainable. And what I mean by that is how the integration into your family life, the most important thing, A, is you, your mental health, physical health, spiritual health, and then it's everybody else. I would even say your kids may be third on the rung. And I know as mothers, we're like, got to put them number one, but maybe not. So the impact of me always being busy in my business and like, oh, this power couple, look at Renee go. She's amazing. She's successful. Like, that's great. I love it, but it wasn't the truth. It was so inauthentic. It was so disingenuine because underneath it all, it wasn't what was making me happy. And so people were putting me on this pedestal of success, but that's not where my joy was coming from. So it felt like such a lie. You have to create harmony with home life. It's not that they're in opposition, but there's definitely more weight on the other. And there are seasons in businesses where, sure, you have to work harder and you have to travel more. That's fine. There's never going to be balance. But if you're not creating that integration, however that looks for you, you will not create an ability to last in your business or have a great family life. So integration is important. And finally, the third lesson is, I've already alluded to this, but that growth happens in spaces in between. So perhaps the most profound lesson that came in selling my agency is that when I took its last breath in the agency, is that I had a vision for it, and it wasn't this, to be honest with you, but I'm so glad it happened. But now it taught me that my biggest breakthroughs, when I look back, the biggest breakthroughs always came from doing less, not from doing more. In creating intentional spaces for reflection and reinvention, more time in nature, walk in the woods, baths alone, less time on my screen, less time on my phone, and connecting with the right people. It's spending time journaling. It's spending time meditating and reading tarot cards and it not being so on all the time. And I know a lot of us have this tendency to, we might live in hectic households where there's kids that have hockey and then soccer and then dance and all this stuff. I get it, but just also know that it's not your responsibility to be available for your kids 24/7, just like it is for your business. No. It takes a village to raise children. And there's a reason why that's the saying that works, because you don't have to do it all. So in all this, the core lessons is I really do encourage you to take dedicated time away. And this means maybe it's a full week of no meetings and it's a GSD week, get stuff done week. And you're just going and you're powering through those tasks and you're creating systems and you're hiring assistants and you're getting the help you need. But maybe it is a month off. Maybe it's 6 months off. And there's no shame in asking. There's no shame in creating systems and processes to have people come in and take over those tasks. So each thing that you do is going to challenge something conventional within your business or challenge something conventional within your personal life. But just know that just because maybe it hasn't been done before in your life or in your community or in your family doesn't mean it can't be. You can be the leading example. And so I encourage you to create more intentional space, to take a breath, especially coming into this holiday season. Step away, be with your family, connect. Work is always going to be there. And just know we do often have the tendency to do more because we feel like we're actually contributing. A lot of us don't feel worthy of that space, but we are all worthy of space and relaxation. So before you go, I do want to remind you that the Pink Skirt Project tickets are on sale. Early bird tickets are on sale until December 31st, 2024. After that, they go up by a few $100. We are almost sold out of the Thrive Experience, which is the VIP experience tickets. There are still a handful of the Rise Experience tickets available. If you go to thepinkskirtproject.com, you can go check it out. It is going to be an incredible day, June 12th, 2025, right here in Kelowna, BC. You can come and you can see my community and meet some incredible women. So the pinkskirtproject.com. Go check it out. Grab your tickets. If you have any questions, DM me, Renee_Warren on Instagram. Until next time, ladies, peace out.